welcome back to Champion the Passion, a weekly pro wrestling podcast where we inspire you to champion your passions and celebrate the joy of what you love. I'm your host. My name is Victoria Daisy, and today we are going to be recapping everything that happened this week on NXT. But before we dive deeper, don't forget to leave a 5-star review if you enjoyed. Follow me at It's Victoria Daisy across all social platforms, and follow Champion the Passion across all streaming platforms. I want to give a quick disclaimer that yes, I'm uploading this on Thursday instead of Wednesday. Yesterday, there was just a lot going on in our world, and it just didn't feel appropriate to just kind of do a whole podcast and act like nothing's going on. So in the morning, I was uploading videos, but then I kind of stopped after, news started breaking about things, and I just needed time to process. So I also didn't want to completely not do this episode as well, because what happened on NXT was so cool, and I really want to talk with you guys about it. So I just thought today we would do a double episode day. So this morning I will be, or whenever you're watching this, I'm releasing the NXT episode, and then later today I will be releasing our typical Dynamite recap. But just wanted to let you guys know, because I know I didn't even give a warning that I wasn't dropping an episode, and I was getting some questions. So with that being said, let's head into the opening match with Javon Evans and Josh Briggs. Now, NXT opened with both men running out to the ring immediately, okay? I mean, attacking each other, like literally the second they went on air, they just came out from opposite directions into the ring and was like, we're going. And I was like, okay, didn't expect that to happen right off the bat. But the match itself was really good. I mean, the storytelling, specifically in the storyline with Josh Briggs, it's been done so well. And I was so shocked because like the rise of Josh Briggs was something I did not expect. It was not on my 2025 NXT bingo card, if you will. And I've just been so impressed by all the work he's been doing. And especially with Javon Evans, it's been so good. And to be honest, it was the perfect balance of a fast-paced action and heavy-hitting moments. So I really enjoyed the match. And in the end, Josh Briggs did take the W, which completely proves that he is getting this well-deserved push. Then after, we had a segment with DIY. Obviously, they returned last week because they are getting ready for next week's NXT Homecoming show. So they got on the mic to say that it's officially been 10 years to the day since DIY, debuted in NXT. And after, Johnny said that even though they're on the main roster now, NXT will always be their home. Then Ciampa pitched in and said that when he had his, quote, final match in NXT, he never really felt like it was going to be the last. And clearly, it's being proved right. So Trick Williams came out, and Trick came out basically insulting DIY, and Johnny told Trick to come into the ring. But then Trick said, I will, but this time I didn't come alone. And when he said that, I was like, who could he be talking about, right? I was like, I don't really think he has any allies in NXT. I couldn't think of anybody, truly. And then Carmelo Hayes' music hits, and my jaw quite literally hit the ground running. I was so shocked and so excited. I mean, he was the last person I expected to come out, considering their very complicated history. But Melo got on the mic and said that since he left NXT, he's seen that Trick has said a lot of true and untrue things about him. And when Melo first started talking, I was like, dang, are we getting a babyface Melo who's going to align with DIY? And then maybe a bigger return to help Trick? Like, I was like, I don't even know what's going on right now. But eventually then they agreed. Through all their troubles, they're still boys. And then Melo went back into heel mode and aligned with Trick. And then Johnny challenged both of them to a match next week at NXT Homecoming. And I'm so excited because these are two of my favorite teams. And I know Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams aren't a tag team anymore, but when they were in NXT together still, and they were tagging Trick Melo Gang, if you will, obsessed. I loved it. And so I also love DIY. You guys know that if you've been listening to the pod for a while, but I'm just so excited. The card is so stacked, and we still have so much to talk about in regards to the card next week, because it is going to be absolutely insane. But it was made official after the segment. We are getting Trick Melo Gang versus DIY next week in a tag match at NXT Homecoming at Full Sail. It's going to be absolutely majestic, and I simply can't wait. All right, next, let's head into round 2 of the Women's Speed Tournament match. We had Lainey Reed versus Fabi Apache. I hope I'm saying that right, but she's from AAA. And this is round 2 of the women's speed tournament. Whoever makes it all the way to the end will face Solruka, I believe, at No Mercy for the Speed Women's Championship. So very excited. I'm really happy that they brought speed to NXT. I feel like it fits in really perfectly. And these speed matches are also always very interesting because they have a 3-minute time limit. And so the stress and intensity is very high all throughout the match. But in the end, Lainey Reed won and is now advancing to the semifinals. And I was so excited. You guys know how much I love Lainey Reed, and I think that she definitely deserves an opportunity such as this. So I'm really happy about it. Next, we had a match for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Dark State defending against the former champions, Hank and Tank. This was an awesome match. I mean, it was full of intensity, heavy hitting action that I truly loved. And what I loved towards the end is that they did a similar spot to something they did last week in a similar match where they said the name Joe Hendry and he actually appeared. And so they did that. They straight up said Joe, I think it was Cutler James who said Joe Hendry. And then he just appeared. He actually came out through, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like kind of like a wall almost that he just ran through, and it was like the funniest thing ever. But of course, Dark State used that to their advantage and retained their titles successfully. Then we had a really fun match called Capture the Flag. I know you may think of your favorite childhood game, Capture the Flag, but no, this is a Capture the Flag match. Continuing on the USA versus Canada rivalry, I guess, within NXT. So we had Ethan Page versus Tavion Heights, and this was a very interesting concept. So basically, if you didn't watch it, the first person to retrieve their flag wins the match. Their flags, the USA flag and the Canadian flag, were both on top of the ring post where the ropes are on opposite ends. And basically, they just whoever grabbed it first won. And I really love this storytelling, not just in the match, but literally in the whole storyline. I just think that it's so unique. I don't ever recall something like this happening, or if it has, it hasn't been in a long time. And I just think it's like fun. And I love the fact that, you know, they've evolved Chelsea Green and the Secret Hervis and Tyra May Steele. And now it's really between Ethan Page and Tavion Heights. And we're really getting to see Tavion. And I really love how Ethan is not only shining in his own way, but also able to put over Tavion, which I think is awesome. And in the end, Tavion Heights won. And after the match, we had an unexpected return that was quite literally straight from my childhood that popped me big time, probably more than anyone on this planet. We had the return of Tyler Breeze. Now, if you didn't watch WWE or NXT in the 2010s, you probably have no idea who Tyler Breeze is, or if you've heard of him, you probably don't understand the hype, or at least my hype. My parents like to call this a very Victoria niche thing, where it's like only I really get excited about this stuff. I don't think anyone really cares terribly much about Tyler Breeze, but ever since I was little, I just always thought he had the funniest gimmick. So he did, in fact, come out with his old gimmick with the selfie stick, taking photos in the ring with Ethan Page, who was laid out on the floor. And after, he challenged Ethan Page to a match for the NXT North American Championship at Homecoming next week, and it was accepted, and now that's our match. Tyler Breeze is literally wrestling, and I'm so excited. And I just was like over the moon. It was so fun to see him. It was definitely the last person I expected, considering the fact that he literally has not been in the ring in years. Like, he still works for WWE, but was just doing other stuff. And so seeing him come back pops me big time. I heard his music in 0.2 seconds, immediately freaked out. It was amazing. Can't wait to see if he's going to just have this be a one-off appearance or if this is going to be a little run he's doing. I'm not too sure. All right, let's head on to the main event. We had a number 1 contenders triple threat tag team elimination match. Talk about a mouthful of sentence. So we had Solruka and Zarya versus Izzy Tatum Paxley versus Fatal Influence. Basically, the winner will be the new number 1 contenders for the Women's Tag Team Championships. So this was a really fun match and definitely deserved the main event slot that it got. I mean, every single woman absolutely outshined the next and truly put on the most entertaining match. I mean, the crowd was super involved, and the match itself was just super hyped the whole time. But in the end, well, actually, before we get to that part, so Solruka and Zarya got eliminated first, and then Fatal Influence I almost said they got influenced. They got eliminated. And that basically means that Tatum Paxley and Izzy Dame won, which was the last thing I expected, to be honest. But I'm actually really happy with how it happened. So once everyone cleared the ring, Fatal Influence was stuck in the ring, and JC Jane basically cut a promo and had a crash out, losing it, because she said that she just wants to be on the card for Homecoming and that she's tired of carrying this group on her back, and she feels like shame on them for not getting the job done. And she basically took some notes from the heel handbook, if you will, by saying that she's the greatest and she doesn't need anybody, yada, yada, yada. And then here comes all the chaos. Stephanie Vaquer came out. So she came out to correct JC that she is the greatest champion because she was the double champ. And JC played the numbers and said, oh, that's cute. There's 3 of us and 1 of you. And the second she said that, the infamous number game began. And I was like, oh crap, who's about to come out? I was terrified. And then Stephanie got on the mic and did a cute little transition and said, NXT, do you know what time it is? She said that, I fell to the ground. I literally tweaked the hell out. Tiffany Stratton came out, our women's champion, literally died, and Tiffany put JC in her place since she is the women's champion, and reminded them, everybody, who she's beaten. You know, she's beaten legends, current stars, previous, like all this stuff, whatever. And then I forgot, JC had said something, and then Tiffany was like, ooh, I don't think mommy would like that. And the crowd erupted because mommy, Rhea Ripley, came out. And oh my God, dude, I was bouncing off the walls at that point. I could not, I was so gagged. I was screaming. I literally couldn't believe my eyes that these women were in NXT. I could literally not believe. So then it was made official. After Rhea challenged them, we are getting a 6-woman tag match next week at NXT Homecoming. It's going to be Fatal Influence versus the women's champion Tiffany Stratton, Rhea Ripley, and Stephanie Vaquer. It's going to be absolutely amazing. But let's head into my overall thoughts. This was a fantastic episode of NXT, and I thought to myself, oh, what if this is the NXT of the year? And then I thought about what's happening next week, and I'm like, no, next week is going to be NXT of the year, and I simply cannot wait. My match of the night was hands down the main event. I mean, it checked off all the boxes that you would want in a main event and more, especially what followed after, which is going to be my segment of the night, everything that transpired after the main event. I mean, solely for the shock factor and the excitement levels that were booming through that PC, I could only imagine. I felt it through the screen. It was absolutely amazing. Overall, I rate the show a solid 8.5, actually lie, 9 out of 10, one of the highest ratings I've ever given in NXT. And don't be shocked if next week I pull out the first ever 10 out of 10 NXT, because I'm feeling it. I think it might happen, and I'm really excited about it. But don't forget to stay tuned later today, or whenever you're watching this, it'll be out, hopefully. I will be dropping my Dynamite recap. I am super excited. Dynamite was so good, and I can't wait to talk about with you guys later today. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching and listening to this episode of Champion the Passion. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review if you enjoyed. Follow me at It's Victoria Daisy across all social platforms, and follow Champion the Passion across all streaming platforms. Don't forget to champion your passions and celebrate the joy of what you love, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.